All right, it looks like we are live now. We haven't done this for a while now, and the main reason I want to do this is see if there are some changing values in the Dynasty community. And we know that some of these rookies have been rising up best ball drafts. We know some of them have been rising up in the redraft world. You also have some changes happening. I mean, the Jeff Wilson injury. You also have Julio Jones being traded out of Atlanta. So I want to make sure we are getting some of these mock drafts underway. That way we can continue to update that rookie ADP, which can be found over there on Patreon. But let me spend 30 seconds getting these notifications out for everybody to know that we are live. Let's send that. Let's go claim our spot in this mock draft. And let's pull up this live chat real quick. I want to remind everyone, if you are new to the channel or if this is your 1,000,000th live stream you've come in with, that what we do with these mock drafts is I give an opportunity for everybody supporting the show on Patreon to get in the mock drafts first. Once they get their guaranteed spots, then I send the invite out in the general chat for everybody subscribed to the channel and everybody that comes out to these live streams right away. But my God, we already have 10 likes on this live stream. That is absolutely massive. We have Kevin, we have Aaron, two guys that are out in the premieres every single day in the live chat. So thank you, my dudes, for coming out. Now, let me grab a link to Patreon real quick. That way, everybody supporting the show there doesn't have to leave YouTube to be able to send us a quick DM to get that invite into this mock draft. And we are going to be doing Superflex and one quarterback mock drafts because I know that based on all of those extra podcasts we've been doing on Patreon, breaking down league formats and breaking down your teams, I mean, way more people play in one quarterback leagues than I initially thought. And while I definitely prefer Superflex, I mean, just because that's my preferred way to play, that's not what I can exclusively talk about. I mean, we have to talk about one quarterback as well, as much as I don't like doing it. Of course, if a lot of people are playing in that, I want to do my best to try to satisfy everyone. So let's get this up. Let's get these invites sent out. Okay, perfect. We already have some people DMing us over there on Patreon. I'll grab those links. And also, guys, a quick thank you. We actually passed 340 Patreon supporters. So y'all know I said that late July would have been the spot where I thought that we were going to have that $500 high stakes fantasy football draft getting kicked off. And if you are now hearing about this for the first time, let me give a quick recap of what we are going to be doing. So with that $500 league, essentially every time we get a new 100 Patreon supporters, I'm going to be kicking off a $500 fantasy league. And I'm not only going to be playing in it myself, putting up my own $500, but we are going to be doing a giveaway for one of the spots as a pure thank you for supporting the show. And we are going to be doing that giveaway through Patreon where I'm going to be paying for someone else's buy-in. And yeah, that entire league is going to be full of Patreon supporters. But I thought that was going to probably hit that 400 mark at late July, but it looks like we actually may get there by late June, early July with the amount of people that are actually starting to support the show over there on Patreon. But anyway, let's get these out. Okay, I believe we just sent out 5 or 6 of those mock draft links. Please, guys, if you shot me a DM on Patreon and I've yet to get you that link, let me know. Let me just give 30 seconds to everybody over there so they can join. Then I'll refresh, see if we have any more DMs, and I'll send that link out in the general chat right now. But let's see if we have anything else out here. Jayan is out here. Just got you that link over there on Patreon, my dude. Thank you so much. And yeah, let me know if y'all are preferring to see these mock drafts still at this time of the year. We're probably not going to be doing this close to every week anymore because I know a lot of people have already had their rookie mock drafts get kicked off, but I definitely want to keep going through, especially with that Julio Jones trade. I mean, I want to see where the Dynasty community is evaluating Kyle Pitts at, if he's going to be at the top pick, if he's going to be second, third, maybe falling down a little bit more. And I know that this is going to be a flock mock draft, so I'd imagine that he falls a little bit further down than he would have in a regular league. But nonetheless, I mean, I do want to continue to get those updates coming in. Okay, so it looks like that may be all the invites we are going to be sending out on Patreon. So please, my dudes, go down there, and I'm sending that link out in the general chat right now. Go take those last few spots. That way we can get this mock draft underway. Let me pull up the mock draft here, get ready to switch the screen. Hopefully I set that up with the live stream capabilities and the platform before, but please, guys, click that link, join this mock draft. The first one we are going to be doing is going to be a Superflex tight end premium dynasty league. And then the next one we are going to be doing is going to be a 1 quarterback non-tight end premium. That way we can try to cover both ends of the spectrum with what you're seeing for people playing in different formats. Now, occasionally, maybe we can throw in a points per carry league here or there, but the problem with getting weird into those formats, while I love talking about them over there on Patreon, while I like playing them in myself, I don't necessarily think everybody is actually going to be accustomed to those leagues and understanding how a player like Javonte Williams is actually going to skyrocket in value compared to what you would see in a regular league. So I think those weird formats we are probably going to stay away from. We'll keep it mainly regular. I think Superflex tight end premium probably going to be the weirdest we do. Okay, but guys, please go down there, join that mock draft. What I may have to do right now is I may have to change this to a 10-team league. It looks like YouTube did not send out those notifications that we were going to go live, so hopefully we get some more people coming in here in a little bit. But guys, if you have not already, go down there, drop a like on the live stream, help us get recommended, help YouTube send out that notification because sometimes they are weird about that. Okay, so Mondo says always down to mock for either redraft or dynasty. Yeah, this is going to be a dynasty rookie mock draft over on Sunday on the main fantasy football channel. That's when we'll be getting a regular mock draft going for a redraft league. Okay, Puckett is saying, I'm in a dynasty league and own Trey Lance and Deshaun Watson at quarterback and no other starting quarterbacks. My league wants to punish me week 1 if neither starts for the final draft position. Do they have a point? No, not at all. I mean, if you were going out of your way to try to diminish what you're having in your starting lineup based on your roster construction already, I mean, if you had a guy like Aaron Rodgers and you were choosing to bench him and play Deshaun Watson, then yeah, I mean, at that point, you have to be punished. At that point, you have to be a clear just team that is, I don't even want to say tanking, but that's the right word. I mean, it's way worse than just going productive struggle. So at that point, yeah, I mean, you have to get punished, but no, not with what you're doing right now. It's kind of not your fault that Deshaun Watson had that situation go on. Okay, but guys, okay, I see that. Okay, real quick, I see that in the mock draft, we do not have any quarterbacks. Let me go fix that before we get this going. I promise you I'll fix that right now, guys. Okay, perfect. Okay, I just fixed that. I am sorry, my dudes. And yeah, join that mock draft. It looks like we have 1 spot left for anybody wanting to get in. I will send that link out one more time. Okay, yeah, guys, I fixed the quarterback problem. Quarterbacks are now available in the player pool. I accidentally set it to 3 flex spots instead of 3 super flex spots, but we will switch this screen over. And guys, if you can, come join this mock draft. That way we can get it underway. Okay, Jacob saying, how valuable is Jordan Love in your mind if he starts? I mean, Jordan Love in a Superflex league is automatically going to be worth, at the very minimum, a 1st and a 2nd round rookie pick. You're talking about a quarterback that was traded up to be selected by the Green Bay Packers in last year's draft in the 1st round. I mean, that's someone that if he has that guaranteed job to start, you're already looking like players like Sam Darnold, where you really don't know what you're going to be finding and you have that long track record of failure. Those players, sometimes you're getting 1st in Superflex formats for them. So I think if you have a Jordan Love, someone who could potentially be a little bit better than that, then at the very minimum, he has to be worth a 1st and a 2nd round pick in a 12-team Superflex league. Okay, but join this mock draft, guys. We have 2 spots left. I want to get this going. I don't want to be going through with an 8-man mock draft. So please, if you have not already, drop a like on the stream. That way YouTube can hopefully send out the notification that we are live and get this out to some more people to join the mock draft, or just join the mock draft yourself. I sent the link to join in the live chat of this live stream. Okay, so let's go through. Talon is saying Trey Sermon all day. Yeah, I'm interested to see where Trey Sermon goes now that we do have the Jeff Wilson injury. I would imagine that he's still in that range of wide receivers 2s, but still I want to see it for myself. But anyway, we are full now, so let's get this underway. We are going to begin this draft. Okay, so Clutch Cow on the clock. And keep in mind, guys, this is Superflex tight end premium. So you're going to be bumping up those tight ends. Obviously, those quarterbacks are going to be going way higher than they would be in a 1 quarterback league. But let's see where Clutch Cow decides to go. He goes with the consensus pick in Trevor Lawrence. I think that's a pick that you're not going to be surprised by too many times. I mean, if you're playing in a flock league, you could possibly see Trey Lance go there with the amount of hype that we have been trying to pump up on that Trey Lance train. I mean, he's one of those quarterbacks. He's one of those rookies that I want to throw all the flock brand into. I mean, when Trey Lance is just dominating in fantasy points this upcoming season, given his rushing potential, given the fact that he has that elite supporting cast, I want people to associate that with the Dynasty football flock because I am that confident in Trey Lance. Now, Najee Harris goes from JN at the 103. That's something he was saying that he was going to do over on Patreon the other day. He was saying that he still had Najee Harris over Kyle Pitts after the Julio Jones trade. Now, I think that Kyle Pitts would actually be my 103 in a tight end premium format, which this is. But now that we are going to be up on the clock, I think we have an easy decision here. We are going to be going Travis Etienne, a running back that checks every single box to be a workhorse guy. Yes, I understand. James Robinson is there. James Robinson going to be taking the meaningless touches in between the 20s, the carries that don't equal a ton of fantasy points. Travis Etienne is the Alvin Kamara. He's the Aaron Jones. He's the guy getting targets out of the backfield, usage at the goal line, which is all you really want in fantasy. Now, Jamar Chase, 107. I'm sure Longman Pete is very excited to get Jamar Chase there. Zach Wilson, Javonte Williams, Trey Sermon at the 110. So Trey Sermon over Devonta Smith, over Jalen Waddle, over Rashad Bateman. That is very intriguing. Okay, so Talents is not as first pick, obviously, but a big riser. Oh, God, I am surprised to see Trey Sermon go at the 110. Please let me know what y'all think of that selection. I don't know if I can get behind it. I think we would still rather have some of those wide receivers in tier 2. I think I would still probably have a guy like a Devonta Smith, a guy like a Jalen Waddle, even Elijah Moore. I mean, if you pull up our rookie rankings, we even have both Rondale Moore and Rashad Bateman over Trey Sermon. So yeah, I can't get behind it, but I understand someone else wanting to do that. Okay, so now let's see who is up here. So you have Heiserman. Now, if you look at our rookie rankings, the best player that I currently have available on the board is going to be Jalen Waddle. I think you can easily make the argument to go with any of those other wide receivers, though. It's really one flat tier from there. Okay, so I see we passed 30 likes on the live stream with only 46 people in here. So over 75% of the people in the live stream right now have dropped a like. Thank you so much, my dudes. Obviously, that helps us out a ton. Now, Elijah Moore going off, that's who I personally have as the best player available. So I really think the only pick, at least in my mind, that is completely off the board here is going to be that Trey Sermon selection. But like I said, I mean, I understand wanting to go with the Trey Sermon with that pick if you think that he can get the starting job in San Francisco. Okay, so Nick says he basically took Vaughn or Zach Moss over T. Higgins right there. I think that's very hard to say that Trey Sermon is Keyshawn Vaughn or Zach Moss. Now, y'all know I hated both Keyshawn Vaughn and Zach Moss last year. I mean, we were consistently saying Keyshawn Vaughn was the most overvalued player in rookie drafts. I mean, people were taking Keyshawn Vaughn over Justin Jefferson a year ago. Trey Sermon, definitely a much better running back prospect than either one of those players, but still, I understand the point. Now, we are up on the clock here, and I think that we have two players that we are really going to be looking at. It's either going to be coming down to Rondale Moore or Terrace Marshall. And these are players that I kind of flip back and forth with our rookie rankings over the course of the offseason. But I think given the landing spots and given the fact that with Rondale Moore, we said that he was a player that had the upside. He just needed to find a good landing spot with a coach that could be creative and use his skill set. We like it enough to be going with Rondale Moore here at the 206. I understand he looks like a complete outlier with what you're finding with his size, and we've never seen a wide receiver succeed at that size before. But still, I am perfectly fine having Rondale Moore as the pick there at the 206. Maybe we would have gone with the Mac Jones. Most likely would have gone with the Mac Jones if he fell one more pick to us at the 206. But no, there we were going to go Rondale. Now, after Terrace Marshall goes off the board, this is where you see a significant drop-off in tiers. I mean, in a 10-team league, this is going to be happening at the 207. In a 12-man league, this is going to be happening at the 205. Now, the best player I currently have available there at the 208 is actually going to be Kadarius Toney, but I don't feel comfortable with that at all. I mean, like I said, it's one large flat tier. That's why I said earlier this offseason that if you are sitting there with the 207, the 208, in a 12-man league, I'm trying to do everything I can to just trade a few picks up or trade a few picks back and get some extra assets. But yeah, I really don't like that situation with where you are in this pick range. But it's interesting to see where people go. I mean, because these picks up here at the top are easy. You want to see, after you have Terrace Marshall go off the board, where the value is landing. Okay, so Talent is saying Trey Sermon is a perfect running back situation with Shanahan's offense and the talent. I will be a little bit worried about just having Trey Lance under center for Trey Sermon. Now, what you have to worry about is you have to worry that Trey Lance may not necessarily be a check down quarterback where you may not have the targets there for Trey Sermon. And you also have to worry that Trey Lance may end up taking goal line usage away, rushing touchdowns, which is why you're so excited about Trey Lance for fantasy. But I'm unsure if he is going to be very useful for the starting running back in San Francisco. Okay, so Ryan says, pick 301 in a one quarterback half PPR league. Josh Palmer, Nico Collins, or Diami Brown. Okay, so if you go over to my rookie rankings, you are going to find that Diami Brown is going to be our top wide receiver there. But we also have Nico Collins just one pick after. I mean, the reason we have Diami Brown ahead, to be completely honest, is we found ourselves getting Nico Collins so late in drafts. I know his ADP has kind of risen up from whenever we were drafting him at the beginning of the fourth round, at the late third sometimes. But I think Nico Collins is in a great situation. I would rather just take Diami Brown, understanding that if you're playing in a lot of dynasty leagues, the next time you're on the clock, you may not necessarily have the chance to go either direction. Now, I will say Diami Brown going ahead of Kadarius Toney, I really can't get behind that pick. I mean, with Kadarius Toney, I understand he's a very bad wide receiver prospect. We talked about this in our rookie draft guide. But at the very minimum, he's a first-round guy that has the speed, so you know he's going to be getting the snaps. And if he has the snaps, potentially you see 2 or 3 big games where then you would have a sell opportunity. Okay, so but we are about to be back on the clock right here at the 306. So if we pull this up, looking down at the player pool, there are a couple guys that we can be looking at. I mean, a guy like Kenneth Gainwell is not even going to be on the board for me here. A player that I don't love the talent profile. I don't really like what he was as a prospect at all, but is in a great situation, is going to be Amari Rodgers. So maybe we decide to go Amari Rodgers here. I mean, if we go through and look at our updated rookie rankings, he is the best player available. I mean, I would much rather have Kellen Mond if you were a quarterback needy team in a Superflex league. But no, here we are going to be going Amari Rodgers at the 306. Like I said, I mean, it's a very nice situation where there's a clear path for him to be the wide receiver 2 on the Green Bay Packers as early as year 1. And if Rodgers does stay there to be the quarterback this upcoming season, all of a sudden you have a wide receiver that's going to be seeing a significant amount of snaps, a wide receiver that should be playing in a highly efficient offense. So yeah, Amari Rodgers going to be our selection there at the 306. Now, coming into the late third, what we'll probably do with this next mock draft is we'll try to make it a 12-team league. And if it's a 12-team league, we'll stick it with 3 rounds. If it's a 10-man league, again, then we'll extend it to 4 rounds. But usually why we try to keep them a little bit shorter is I just want to get as many of these going as possible. That way we have the opportunity to include as many people as possible. But yeah, let's get this last pick here off the board. I do like the Josh Palmer selection at the 309, and then we can get another one going. Okay, so here Aaron says, traded Dobbins, Carter, and James Robinson for Jonathan Taylor last night. I love that trade. I know a lot of people are going to be hating on you, man. But I mean, going and getting a Jonathan Taylor, a running back prospect that's literally the best running back prospect since Saquon Barkley, and you're moving someone that you're not confident is going to have the upside of a top 5 guy, given the lack of usage in the receiving game, given the fact that Lamar Jackson's going to vulture touchdowns at the goal line. And we are already on record saying James Robinson is dead. James Robinson is now equivalent to Jamal Williams. So yeah, man, I love that trade, even though I know a lot of other people won't. But let's switch this back around. Let's get a new one of these going. So of course, if you want to join this next one and have that guaranteed spot, just shoot me a DM on Patreon ASAP and you'll get that guaranteed spot. If not, we'll be sending it in the live chat after those people on Patreon have an opportunity to join. That way we can fill this ASAP. But let's get another one going. This one, it looks like we have over 60 people in this live stream, so we can switch it over to be a 12-man league. So it's going to be a 12-man league. It's going to be a 12-man league. It should easily fill. Okay, we went with the 106 this past time, so now let's drop down to the 109. Run over to Patreon real quick. That way we can get these invites out. But also, guys, I mean, thank you so much for going down there and just smashing that like button. I mean, we have 63 people watching right now and 38 likes. That is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you never find that many people dropping likes on live streams at the rate y'all do. So thank you so much. I really owe you for that. Okay. So let's go over there to Patreon real quick to send some invites out. Actually, we waited so long on Patreon the other day. I'm just going to get this out in the live chat. So let's send that in the live chat, guys. If you want to join this mock draft, get in there ASAP, and we can get another one going. Now, this is also going to be Superflex tied in Premium Dynasty. We'll do one more of these. Then we'll go through and do a 1 quarterback league and finish it out with that. Okay, Kevin making it out. Thank you, my man. Another Kevin saying snipe Palmer from me. Okay, let's go through. Paul is saying, hey, Mason, is Jalen Darden coming in as more of a special teams player, or do you think he'll see wide receiver snaps at some point? Man, my problem with Jalen Darden is he's a wide receiver prospect that I am kind of getting suckered into, and he is just a roster clogger. I mean, he's someone that could be a very productive slot player if he ever got the opportunity, but I am unsure that's going to be the case given the fact that that wide receiver room is so loaded in Tampa. You're essentially just praying that you're going to have Chris Godwin moving on after the franchise tag. But looks like we are full now, so let's switch back over here. Let's begin this draft. Now, I took the 109 because I love the 109 draft spot for these mock drafts. I love it for our real drafts. But anyway, let's see if we have anything else. Kevin is saying Tony has a lot of competition for touches was my thought, but it was an either or. Yeah, with Kadarius Toney, I mean, essentially, I am not a massive fan of the talent. I just think that if you're going to be seeing that amount of snaps, and if you're going to be going at the beginning of the 3rd round, I mean, that is an investment that you can make every single time, knowing that, hey, even if you don't like the player, if he just has 2 to 3 spike weeks in a consecutive order, all of a sudden, you have a player that was drafted in the 1st round of the NFL draft. We know that the hype is going to be there, and you can go and look to make that change. Now, Nash's cast coming out saying Trey Lance at the 101. My man, you were in a live chat saying Justin Fields over Trey Lance. Were you just trying to get us worked up the other day, taking Trey Lance here at the 101? I know a lot of people are going to hate that, but I actually have some Trey Lance stats that I'm going to be talking about for a video coming out on Monday that I'm very excited to premiere. I'm going to actually record that after we end this live stream. Okay. So let's go through and see if we have anything else. Blue says, I want to see that 1 quarterback draft. My big money draft is up tomorrow. Yes, sir. We will get that 1 quarterback draft going after this one. But we have a strong start to quarterback here. Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Fields all going off the board. Now, I simply think this is too high on Justin Fields. We've been on record saying where we think Justin Fields should be going in these drafts based on historically what has happened with the quarterback in his draft range, based on the fact that I am not buying into Chicago being an above average landing spot for these quarterbacks. I think Chicago's actually one of the worst landing spots outside of having Allen Robinson. You really don't have much else there at all. Now, Kyle Pitts at the 104, like we said, after the Julio Jones trade in a tight end premium format, I think Kyle Pitts is actually going to be our 103. But what I like to see is I like to see both running backs over Jamar Chase. I like to go with those 3 down running backs over a wide receiver prospect, understanding, yes, that wide receiver prospect is elite, but at the same time, you know, in Dynasty Fantasy Football, with roster construction, with what you see with these players from their value, their rookie seasons to their 2nd year, I mean, I think that you're going to have a much better bet with either Najee Harris or Travis Etienne. Now, we have a very easy selection here to make at the 109 with Javonte Williams. That's why I love the 109, because it's the end of the tier, so you really just take what's take what's left for you, and you really don't have to think too much about it. Okay, so Joe Webb says, Fields has looked good so far. They say, man, what are they supposed to say? Are they supposed to come out here and say, yeah, hey, Justin Fields looks really bad? That's never going to happen. I mean, that's literally never going to happen. You know, if a beat reporter came out and he said Justin Fields looks bad, do you have any idea what would happen to him on Twitter from Chicago fans? They would probably find his address. They would probably go to his house, and they would probably burn it down. I mean, at least that's what I've gotten. That's my impression from talking anything bad about Justin Fields in Dynasty. I mean, people go insane. Okay, and yeah, guys, those beat reporters, they want retweets. They want followers. So they're going to come out. They're going to hype up those players that the fan base can get behind. I mean, just think about it. Please, please, please. Okay. So now Blue says, I can't find a lot of 1 quarterback startup mocks. Okay, so maybe we'll get a 1 quarterback startup mock going sometime soon, but we're not going to do a 1 quarterback startup mock here. We will do a 1 quarterback rookie mock draft for you. But anyway, you have Devonta Smith, Trey Sermon going in the 1st round yet again here at the 111. So it definitely looks like Trey Sermon is a riser in these drafts since the Jeff Wilson injury. So that is going to be notable. Then you have Jalen Waddle. You have Elijah Moore getting into this tier of wide receiver 2s. So now if we are going to be trying to scroll through and identify where we may want to be going with our 209, at this point, it's going to be way too early. And while it's nice selecting from the 109, given the fact that you're going to be at the very last part of that tier, I mean, once you get down to the second round, you're going to be in a spot where it's kind of hard for you to go through and make a selection that you can feel confident about because, like I said, after the 205, you see a massive drop-off in the quality of a prospect you're going to be looking at. Okay, Aaron says, well, the only thing I've heard from Jordan Love is that he looks horrendous. I will say that is a completely fair point. I think you're looking at two quarterbacks, though, in two completely different situations. So, yeah, I understand that you can hear negative reports from beat reporters, but you're never going to hear them on those highly prolific fan favorite guys. I mean, have you heard anything bad about Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson? No, it's not going to happen. Even Mac Jones, it's not even really going to happen with. Okay. So we see Kadarius Toney here at the 202 over Rashad Bateman. Now, that is something I can't get behind. Now, y'all know I was saying that I wanted Kadarius Toney over a guy like D'Ami Brown in the last mock draft. But here, if you're looking at the quality of a wide receiver prospect, I think you safely have to have both Rashad Bateman and Rondale Moore. And to be completely honest, Terrace Marshall all over Kadarius Toney. But because we've been drafting in the second round a lot of our own real Dynasty rookie drafts, I mean, I hope that this is where the community is leaning. I hope that they start to take Kadarius Toney over these other wide receivers, and maybe we can make some trades there. But yeah, I can't get behind that. Grant says, haven't heard you talk about Zach Wilson too much. Zach Wilson is the perfect example of a quarterback that's a great option in the Superflex league, given the fact that he does have a 4-year leash to be the starting quarterback for the New York Jets upcoming. But if we are going to be talking about a league that is going to not be a Superflex league, if you're talking about a one quarterback format, Zach Wilson, I am not too interested in, because what you're looking for in a format like that is you're looking for access to having that elite ceiling, which I don't believe Zach Wilson possesses, given the fact that he doesn't have the rushing production. So yeah, Zach Wilson, if you're playing in a league that prioritizes having a starting quarterback no matter what, I mean, a 14-team Superflex league, a 16-man Superflex league, a 12-man 2-quarterback league, there Zach Wilson is gold. But if you're talking about a 10-team 1-quarterback league, at that point, Zach Wilson, not someone I'm too intrigued by, which is why if you go through and you read our Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide, you can actually find that in a Superflex format, I have Zach Wilson ranked ahead of Justin Fields. And in a 1-quarterback format, we can acknowledge the fact that because of his rushing upside, Justin Fields does have a higher ceiling than Zach Wilson. So in a 1-quarterback format, we would have Justin Fields over Zach Wilson. So Wilson, a very boring player, to be completely honest. A high floor, I don't want to say low ceiling, but a lower ceiling than the other options, which is why he doesn't get too much publicity or too much discussed about him with this channel. Okay. Gabriel says, what up, Mason? Haven't commented on anything since last season. Nice to see you blown up. I'm drafting at the 108 right now ahead of you, and also want to hear about Wilson. I have no idea on his outlook. I really hope that was able to explain where I stand on Zach Wilson. I've actually taken him in a ton of drafts. I mean, like I said, in Superflex leagues, he is such a stable asset, because if you look historically, even when quarterbacks come in, if they were drafted inside the top 3, even if they completely flame out and look like one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, they're starting for 4 years at the minimum. I mean, you see this with Sam Darnold, Blake Bortles, Mitchell Trubisky, Marcus Mariota. All those quarterbacks had 4 years as a starting option. In the Superflex league, even if you're a bad real-life NFL quarterback, you can still be a great Superflex asset if possible stacks in a rookie draft. Let's say you have Burrow. Would that make you be more likely to bump up, chase a spot or two? Definitely. I mean, having that roster construction, trying to build in that correlation, I would be much more willing to quote unquote reach on a player if it's going to be fulfilling a stack rather than going and getting quote unquote our guy. I think more so what you want to be finding is you want to be sticking to the best player available strategy until you're in the same tier and you can have the potential to go through and make that switch. So if I had Joe Burrow as the starting quarterback on my team, there I would most likely be in a situation where if I'm picking at the 106, I would lean to take Jamar Chase over Travis Etienne. But if we were in a neutral situation, I would take Travis Etienne over Jamar Chase. So 100% I'm going to be going through with those stacks, especially when you get later on in the draft, a guy like Dwayne Eskridge, a guy like Tutu Atwell. I mean, I would almost be willing to throw everything out of the window and go and try to complete one of those stacks, understanding that you're already making a bet in your lineup, so might as well double down on that bet. Okay. Ja Webb says thoughts on Kellen Mond. I'm intrigued, but haven't researched. Okay, so with Kellen Mond, he was a very high prospect coming into college. Never really lived up to expectation at Texas A&M, but you can say that he does have the speed. He does have the rushing capability where he is an intriguing option for fantasy because he does have that upside. And also, if he stepped into the Minnesota Vikings organization, throwing to both Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, I would want to believe that he could succeed. So I like Kellen Mond, to be completely honest. Now here, I think we have an easy decision to take Kyle Trask. I mean, Kyle Trask, you hate the fact that he has no rushing upside in the slightest, but what you're going to see is you're going to see if he is the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at any point this season or next season or whenever it is, he's going to have one of the best supporting cast ever around him. I mean, he's going to have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski. He's going to have an elite offensive line. He's going to have a great head coach. So even if he doesn't have that rushing upside, he does have the situation which you can be excited about. Okay, so Jake says, does Trey Lance dating Colin Cowherd's daughter increase his value? I did not even know that was happening. Can someone confirm or deny that report? Okay, so Justin says, Chase over Lamb if you have Burrow. Yes, I mean, that's another take that we've been on record with, saying that I would prefer having CeeDee Lamb over Jamar Chase in Dynasty. But if you have Joe Burrow, yeah, I mean, they're in the same tier, so go and complete that stack. I really like that pick of Hunter Long there at the 312, given the fact that this is a tight end premium format. Now let's go over real quick, switch this screen up. Now this next mock draft is going to be a 1 quarterback non-tight end premium, okay? So let's make this a 1 QB mock draft. That way we can try to satisfy everybody with how they're going to be playing Dynasty and try to get some more useful content out here. But let's get that out. And in a 1 quarterback league, let's go through and take one of the best spots. Let's take the 205. And now let's send this invite out. Let me see if we have any messages on Patreon real quick, just to get this out to anybody guaranteed. Okay, so I'm going to send this link out to a few people on Patreon. Then I will get the link out to everybody. Okay, so sent that to PJ, sent that to JN, sent out that to Mondo, sent it to Villa. Okay, awesome. I believe we got that out to everybody. And also, like I said, guys, I want to thank everybody over there on Patreon. I mean, we are increasing the size of the flock dramatically, a point that I never thought we would be at. And also, I will say, what we are finding is we're finding that people love those podcast breakdowns that we've been doing. So like I told you all a while ago, the majority of my day for the past few months has been spent by looking at Dynasty teams over there on Patreon and essentially just writing novels about what I think with your Dynasty team, what I think about the league settings, how to optimize your roster construction, and trades you can make to improve your team. Well, I decided to stop doing that and instead do that same research, but instead of writing it down and sending that to you directly, I've just been recording it and uploading it as audio-only podcast over there on Patreon. We've done like 30 over the past 11 days. I mean, we've done like 33 so far this month, and people have responded greatly to them, so that's definitely going to be something we continue to do. Okay, so let's go and let's grab that link to Sleeper real quick to send everything out. Okay, so let's copy that link. And once we get that filled, we will go through and we will get another one going. But we almost have more likes in this live stream than we have live viewers. That is absolutely massive. Thank you, my dudes. Obviously, that helps the channel dramatically. Okay, so let's see if we can get this filled real quick. Go through and click that Sleeper link. I will spam it in the chat right now for everybody to go through and take those spots. And like I said, guys, this is going to be a 1 quarterback mock draft. This is a single QB mock draft. And after we do this one, it'll probably actually be our last one because I'm going to be going and seeing a comedy show in San Antonio tonight with my girlfriend. Then we are going to be going through and visiting my family tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to have to do a bunch of extra work before that gets done. We've been trying to grind out those extra videos over the past few days so they can stack up and I can have a day and a half off, but it's a lot of extra work to have a day and a half off. I will tell you that. So hopefully we get that out sometime soon. But guys, take these spots. What are we doing right now? We got 71 people in this live stream, and we have all these empty spots in the mock draft. So let's change this down to a 10-man league if people are not going to be taking the spots for this mock. Okay, it looked like we just needed to refresh the page. Oh, okay, that was possibly my bad. Maybe it was actually filled and we didn't have the page refreshed, but it looks like we have one more spot left. So please go through. Justin saying, is there a wait list for an audio breakdown? No, the majority of times I get those podcasts out the day after I actually get the team breakdown over there on Patreon. I get the screenshots of your team because I like having the screenshots of your team because not only can I view it easily while I do my research, but I can also present it to everybody else listening to the audio podcast. But I will say, if you join right now, I'm not going to be able to get it out to you the next day because like I said, we are going through. Okay, by the way, I'm changing this pick right now. This is a 1 quarterback league. This is a 1 quarterback league, my dudes. Yeah, we are going to be removing that pick and starting it again. Okay, I have no idea what I just did. Okay, I maybe just ruined this. Please give me a second. Okay, there we go. I think we just turned the timer off. I think we turned the timer off. Hopefully people are good to just go through and pick. Okay, so we should be good now. Okay, perfect. Najee Harris, Jamar Chase, Travis Etienne, all go off the board. The first 3 picks. Like I said, this one is not going to be tight end premium. Okay, that was a little scary. I am sorry about that, guys. But yeah, like I was saying, over there on Patreon, usually I get those podcasts out the next day. But since I'm going to go see my family, we are not going to be able to do that this time. So I'm not going to be able to get any more podcasts posted until Sunday. So today, there were 3 podcasts posted. But Saturday, there are going to be none. Okay, I really apologize about that, my dudes. Dustin says, how long am I in timeout, big homie? Man, you were just in for 5 minutes. I just wanted to make sure that you stopped spamming it so people could type in the chat. Okay, so Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, now all off the board. What I'm interested in is to see where people value these quarterbacks in a 1 QB league. I will say that guys like Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, guys that still have access to that elite ceiling, obviously they're going to be very valuable. But once you get further beyond that, once you get to a guy like a Mac Jones, a Mac Jones I have almost no interest in at all in a 1 quarterback format. Dustin says, does the fact that Trey Lance has only played like 28 football games ever scare anyone, or do we think that his upside, since he has always dominated when he did play? And what I am willing to overlook is I'm willing to overlook the small sample, given the fact that you saw the 49ers go through and invest the 12th overall selection plus 2 future firsts to go get Trey Lance. So if that entire front office, if that entire organization is willing to throw everything out the window and go, you know what? Let's not just stay here and pick Justin Fields. Let's not just stay here and pick Mac Jones. We think that Trey Lance is such a better player that we are going to go out of our way. We are going to trade essentially 2 extra first-round picks so we don't have to draft either Justin Fields or Mac Jones, and we can go out there and get Trey Lance. That has to speak volumes with what you're going to be expecting from Trey Lance this upcoming season. I know a lot of people think that quarterbacks are poorly evaluated by NFL teams, which a lot of the times they are, but still, with Trey Lance, I think that for fantasy purposes, it doesn't matter too much because we know based on where he was drafted, he's guaranteed a starting job for 4 years. And based on the rushing production he'll have every time he starts, he's going to be productive in fantasy. Okay, so I heard that in recent years, the MLS has become much more popular in the United States than a few years ago, right? I will say we actually have an Austin football club now, and I've never been to a game. I wanted to go to a game, but I found out that tickets were like $200. But yeah, the president of that organization came in and gave a lecture in one of my courses at UT, and the city is really supporting Austin FC. I don't know. I can't speak on other cities with what they're doing with their own football clubs, but Austin has been supporting the hell out of ours. Okay, yeah, but Jayan, have you been following Austin FC at all? Because I will say that they have the coolest logo that I've ever seen in my entire life. I will say that, and it sounds like the nerdiest thing ever to say, but that I cannot get enough of the Austin FC logo. Okay, so let's go through, and Jayan is saying soccer is the worst sports out of them out of them all. I've really wanted to go to an in-person game. Has anybody in this chat gone to a MLS in-person game? I mean, I think it would be fun. I'd imagine it would be fun. Okay, David says, got a trade offer in Dynasty. Send off Julio Jones for Chris Carson in a third. I would rather have Chris Carson than Julio Jones in Dynasty because both players are win now assets. Both players really only have 1 to 2 years left of most likely being in your starting lineup. And I would always take the running back win now asset compared to the wide receiver. Okay, JN says he just likes trolling some soccer fans. Understandable. Okay, so after we take Terrace Marshall, you have Michael Carter Jr. I mean, sorry, not Jr. I always say Michael Carter Jr. You have Michael Carter going off the board, Zach Wilson, Kadarius Toney. Now, Zach Wilson, like I said, I mean, I am 100% on board with the fact that Justin Fields in a one quarterback league is going to be a better option, given the fact that Justin Fields does have that rushing upside. In a Superflex league, I mean, Zach Wilson, someone a lot more appealing given his job security. Andrew says FC Dallas tickets are cheap. Man, how much do Dallas FC tickets cost? Aaron saying he finally got in a mock. Yes, sir. I'm happy to see you out here, my man. Love the Travis Etienne pick. I will say that. Jordan says, why the hell are we doing one quarterback? Y'all know that I prefer Superflex. I've really only played Superflex ever. But I'm sorry, I've only played Superflex since about 2015. I mean, if you're talking about 2009 to like 2015, then yeah, I played one quarterback leagues. But since then, I am Superflex. But what I found is by doing those podcasts over on Patreon, breaking down people's teams, I mean, there are way more people playing in one quarterback leagues than I initially thought, supporting the show over there on Patreon. And of course, the people supporting the show over there on Patreon, allowing me to spend 10 hours of my day every single day just producing fantasy football content and doing fantasy football research for everyone. I mean, I have to make sure that I'm doing everything that I can for them. So we are going to be providing some one quarterback mock drafts. Yeah, JN agreeing that Austin FC has some badass logos and jerseys, though. Yeah, guys, we are about to end this live stream. Once we're done with the live stream, look up Austin FC logo. It's literally just a logo of a tree, but for whatever reason, it's like the most visually appealing thing I've ever seen, though. Okay, Scary Cow says, I've been to a few MLS games, but the atmosphere is at the larger stadiums and the bigger fan bases. See, I'd imagine that Austin FC would have a very nice atmosphere / fan base because around Austin right now, I mean, especially downtown, maybe it's only downtown, but I am seeing everybody in Austin FC jerseys. I mean, more than any other sport jersey really ever, more than UT gear at this point. People are wearing Austin FC stuff, and it's because this is our first major sports team ever. Okay, I didn't even realize we were on the clock here. We are going to be going with our guy, Chuba Hubbard, especially if this was a real 10-team league where you're just shooting for upside. I understand Chuba Hubbard, definitely someone that you're not going to be able to start when Christian McCaffrey's healthy. Essentially just a premium handcuff running back that you're making a bet if CMC goes down, he'll step in and be about equivalent to what Mike Davis was last year. Okay. So JN says fire pick coming in. Let's see what happens at the 310. Okay, Dustin says, how do you feel about Ramondre Stevenson? Always hard to get info out of pass camp. Stevenson, I actually really like in fantasy drafts. I know a lot of people have been pumping up Damian Harris, but given the fact that with Damian Harris last year when he had the opportunity, he did not take control of the passing down usage for New England, and now they draft Stevenson in the 4th round. They really have not that much allegiance to Damian Harris, given the fact that he was a 3rd round pick back in 2019 and has really been unimpressive up to date. So I think at this point, you're looking at Stevenson as the cheapest option in New England. And in my opinion, he has I don't want to say the exact same odds of hitting as a Damian Harris, but a lot closer than what their actual difference in fantasy value is. So I love Stevenson as a late value pick. Andrew says, Dallas FC tickets are only $20 to $60. Man, I wish that was the case for Austin FC. I promise you I'd be at some games. Okay, so please, guys, if you have not already, go down there, drop a like. If you're just now coming into the live stream, we are going to be ending this a little bit early. Usually we do 4 or 5 of these as we go live, but the problem here was, I mean, I just have so much work to do before I go visit my family tomorrow. I have so much research to finish. I have to go through and finish making some videos at the same time. So if you have not already, drop a like. At the beginning of the live stream, we did 2 Superflex drafts, which were both tight end premium. This past one was a 1 quarterback mock draft that had no tight end premium. So I think you have a nice balance where people can take away just good information regardless of the league format that you're playing in. And of course, if you want to support the show even further by just dropping a like and subscribing to the channel, you can also support the show over there on Patreon, where we have extra podcasts every single day. We are going to be starting a new Dynasty League next week, and we are doing in-depth personalized breakdowns of your team. We have in-depth Dynasty rookie draft guides available, and we are also going to have a 2021 fantasy football draft guide available this upcoming year as well. So you can always support the show over there. But I believe that is it. So thank you, my dudes. And I hopefully will have time to be in the premiere tomorrow. Maybe it's just going to have to be uploaded as a video. But regardless, I'm looking forward to talking to y'all again.